My name is Alex, and I'm 18 years old. I attend college, but for some reason, I never became an athlete despite my family's expectations. I just didn't have the right physique. Eventually, I accepted it and joined a computer club, where I learned some useful skills. The club provided free, unlimited internet access, which was a great advantage. My father divorced my mother, married another woman, and left us behind. All we had left was our house and some savings. My mother had no choice but to start working while I continued my studies. Life was challenging, but she always gave me advice about studying hard to secure a good job. She also told me that if I ever met the right woman, I should love her forever and never leave her, no matter what happened. I accepted everything she said without questioning it. However, this incident made me recall her advice. I read a similar article where a mother gave her son the same advice. Eventually, they began their relationship. I looked at the pictures they had taken together. They were beautiful. Mom had just returned home and was cooking dinner in the kitchen. I put down my things and went to join her. As soon as I saw her, I was struck by how captivating she looked. She was wearing her work clothes, a simple white blouse. It wasn't particularly fancy, but it looked stunning on her. She had managed to keep her figure slim and in shape through regular exercise. I'd never really cared about her workouts before, but now I understood why I should encourage her to keep going. Her dark brown hair hung loosely just above her shoulders. I walked over and helped set the table while admiring her all the time. I had never been so enchanted by her presence before. Dinner went by smoothly. We talked about her work and my studies. After cleaning the dishes, I went to my room while Mom took a bath. Suddenly, I heard the door creak. It was strange because I was sure I had closed it. I got up and went to check. We didn't see each other for the rest of the evening. The next morning, Mom was already up preparing breakfast. She was sitting at the table, drinking coffee. I hesitated for a moment, then joined her. She looked at me, then away, before turning back to me. I could see she wanted to say something, probably about what happened last night, but she stayed silent and just kept drinking her coffee. Finally, she stood up and poured the rest of the coffee into the sink. After washing the cup, she turned to face me. There was an awkward pause before she swallowed and asked, "Am I beautiful?" I was caught off guard. Not sure how to respond, I asked, "Do you think I'm beautiful?" I wasn't sure what to say. Yes, she was amazing, but could a son really say that to his mother? "Tell me the truth," she insisted. I swallowed, feeling uncertain, and answered, "Yes, I think you're beautiful." She grabbed her bag and coat from the counter. "It's nice to hear, because your father never said that about me." "He never did," she said, shaking her head. I thought it was odd. What man wouldn't tell his wife she was beautiful, especially a wife like Mom? "But at least you're not like your father," she smiled, and I was taken aback. Of course, I'd seen her smile before, but after all the thoughts that had filled my mind last night, this smile seemed especially beautiful. She left for work, and I went to school. I skipped all my classes and spent the whole day in the computer lab, searching for stories involving relationships between mothers and sons. It was fascinating. I must have found 100 articles, half of them with pictures. Unfortunately, when I returned home after school, I found a message from Mom on the answering machine saying she'd be home late. I cursed under my breath and went to bed early. The next day was Saturday. Mom didn't work on weekends. She stayed at home, cleaning, and doing chores like washing the floors and windows. I didn't go to school on Saturdays either, so I helped her around the house. Mom was already up and busy by the time I woke up. When I came downstairs, she was already sweeping the floor. I carefully avoided the areas she was cleaning, knowing she'd make a big fuss if I didn't. I was about to head to the kitchen when I decided to sneak a quick glance at my mom. As soon as I saw she was about to turn around, I rushed into the kitchen. That's when it hit me. While I was eating at the table, I found myself thinking about my mom. Why didn't she have a boyfriend? Dad had divorced her almost 3 months ago, which was more than enough time for her to start looking for a new partner, but she hadn't. This made me wonder. Maybe she wasn't even interested in finding someone else. Could it be that she still loved Dad? I didn't hear my mom come in, and she startled me when she sat down at the table. I quickly looked up at her. She seemed exhausted, her gaze distant and unfocused. "Are you okay, Mom?" I asked, my voice filled with concern. She didn't answer, but just rested her forehead in her hands. I tried to look away, but I couldn't. I had always seen my mom as a kind, honest woman, and a plan began forming in my mind. "Do you want a massage, Mom?" I asked. She nodded. I smiled, feeling relieved that my plan was working. Now I just needed to move on to the next step. "You know, Mom," I said, "your whole body is really tense." We went up to her room. The bed was a double, but it only took up half of the space, so I sat on the empty side. "Wait," she said suddenly. I froze. Did she know what I was thinking? "Okay, go on," she added. This was incredible. Never in my wildest dreams could I have imagined this moment. I hesitated for a moment, long enough for her to turn and look at me. "Are you okay?" she asked, her voice surprisingly calm. Sure," I muttered, still unsure of myself. She smiled and turned back. She started talking about her work. It seemed like she wasn't too happy with it. She complained about her arrogant boss and unhelpful colleagues. But she had no other option. It was the only job she could get, so she had to stick with it. Then, accidentally, I touched a spot I shouldn't have. She immediately got up on her side. "Alex, why did you do that?" she asked sharply. I didn't know how to respond. What could I say? "Mom, don't worry," I said quietly. "Everything will be fine." She looked down, unsure of what to think. "Alex, take your hand away." "I can't, Mom," I replied softly. "Alex, we shouldn't." She stopped herself mid-sentence. I ignored her words. She didn't stop me, so it had to mean something. She stared at the ceiling, lost in thought. I stood up and approached her. "Mom," I said gently, "are you okay?" She didn't answer. She just kept staring up, her eyes shifting toward me, as if seeing me for the first time. "Alex," she said slowly, "when a woman is single and wants a man and he tells her she's still beautiful despite her age, it makes her think about things. That's exactly what happened today." She shook her head. "No, I can't." Hurriedly, she got up and went into the bathroom. I just sat on her bed, sighing. I grabbed my clothes and went to my room. For the rest of the weekend, Mom avoided me as much as she could. She made excuses like meeting a friend, going grocery shopping, or doing some last-minute work at the office. But I knew the real reason. She didn't want to be alone with me, afraid that something might happen. She gave me glances that seemed like silent pleas for help, and I desperately wanted to help her. Maybe all she needed was time, I thought to myself.